It's 2026 and everyone has this big word for the year. Discipline, dedication, commitment, all these things. And it's like,
those are
with
the top
discipline,
five.
there's going to be disruptions. There's going to be distractions. There's going to be all these things, you know, that's going to say, hey, how disciplined are you going to be? How bad do you want it?
Everybody's making these big goals and resolutions or vision boards, whatever we want to call it. And what I really would like to explain to people is when it starts going bad, that's when you know you're on the right track.
Like I was working in a salon, and before I left it, like I just remember having the feeling of like, I know in my soul that I want more, and it's not going to come with staying here.
What's up, listeners? Get ready for raw, unfiltered, laugh out loud conversations among friends. So take your bra off, get comfy, and let's jump into our show.
Well, this is episode 17, and I heard from a little birdie that is someone's favorite number.
It's me! The winning number.
We're going to introduce Ericka in a little bit more detail later, but I was dying because you said when you came to Vegas, you played 17 on the roulette wheel. Tell me about this. I need to know all this, like, good luck.
Yes, ma'am. I went with my best friend. I'm not a gambler by any means, but he gave me $50 and was like, "You're so boring, just play." And I said, okay. And so I just told him on the car ride over to the casino, like 17 is my favorite number. I always hit. And he was like, okay, cool. So I put $25 on 17 and $25 on 25. And lo and behold, the first spin, I win. And I got $875.
What? Did you give him his 50 back?
I did not, because he didn't want it.
There we go. That's right.
Give
That's
him
a
that
man.
money back.
As soon
That was
as
a
I got
gift.
the money.
That's an honorable man.
And you know, you can tell I'm not a gambler because I was like, give me my tokens, I'm cashing out. So
Good
yes,
girl.
welcome
Good
to
girl.
Vegas.
Yeah, I love that.
Meanwhile, when I did my first gambling, it was $20 on slots, and like 10 minutes later, it was all gone. So I'm scared of the roulette wheel, but now I just need to like rub my hand a little bit, or we go.
I got you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's the first episode of the new year.
Woo!
And the first episode of our next season.
Yes, so excited.
So there's a lot of firsts happening right now. This is our first episode in our new little digs. So we're still a Vegas content studio, but we knew that this year we're going to have more guests, more guest hosts, and we needed a bigger space.
Just like this cozy couch.
And we like the leather. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, we're just really excited. I think all three of us. I know I've been looking forward to having this conversation with Ericka since I met her.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a little bit about this lady because she's pretty cool. I met Ericka, I don't know, casually. You came in and you were doing a podcast tour or a studio tour. And you know when you have that feeling when you meet someone and you're like, I like them. We're going to be friends. Mm-hmm. And so basically, I don't think you had a choice, but I'm like, we're going to be best friends. And we exchanged numbers that night. And then I learned a lot more. And I'll be honest, I was kind of stalking your stuff anyway. And I'm like, I like her. She's so cool. And I'm like, you know what? I think this would be such a great fit for Bras Off. And we had to invite her in. So, of course, I'm texting Fiorella like, Fiorella, check out this lady. And
yeah. And literally ever since then, even this morning when we came in, we're like, we're so excited to be here. We've been looking forward to this day for a long time.
I know. Yeah. Plus, we're all hopped up on caffeine, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I just chugged all of my coffee about 5 minutes ago. So,
and then I but someone else in the studio had an extra coffee and it had 3 espresso shots. So I've only had a few sips, but just in case you see my hands start jittering, that's why.
High caffeine, though.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you about why I love Ericka so much and give you a little bit of her background because she is not playing. So Ericka Ellis, she's a 2-time award-winning author, speaker, and communications leader who helps women reconnect with their identity, purpose, and confidence, especially during seasons of transition. And we've all been there, right? And through storytelling, faith, and real-life experience, she sparks honest conversations that move women forward. And what I love is she doesn't position herself as having all the answers. Instead, she creates a space for clarity, courage, and becoming what's next. Doesn't that sound perfect for Bras Off?
Yes,
Yeah.
It's literally on par. And it's funny because even like thinking about that, I'm like, I'm in my head, I'm like, I think about all the evolutions that like a woman goes through.
Oh yeah.
It's not just personal, professional. We're talking about hormonal. all the evolutions.
Girl, this morning. Well, and that's cool because like Bras Off, I've always thought of Bras Off as a place where we can talk about the things that nobody's really wanting to talk about. So it's like, think about your private group chat or the things that you talk about with your friends. And I think this topic of change and evolution and how you change throughout your life is one of those ones that people think about as being like a no-brainer. But honestly, like, I just noticed that as we go through different stages, there's a point in our life where people are like, they think we're supposed to stay the same. Right. And if you dare do anything different, then they freak out.
Like my famous Lisa Nichols video, everybody puts you in a box.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not meant to be in a box.
Okay.
So you need to get out of that box.
We got to put that Lisa Nichols video in our show notes.
Yes.
Have you heard this?
No.
I'm going to send you a link. This is, you guys don't understand. I was sent this Lisa Nichols video like 10 years ago, and I watch it at least once a year because no matter where I am in my life, I take something different from the video because of what she's saying. And she just talks about like pretty much like what you're, what you talk about, like evolution and like what you have to like be uncomfortable with in the process. And she talks about how everyone that you know, they put you in this box that they think you should be. And when you step outside of it, it like disrupts who they think you are, and it kind of almost, it disrupts them for you. And it's like, I don't care. It's not, I'm not meant to be in that box.
Yeah. But you know what I've learned? I also had put myself into a box.
Oh,
yeah. And it disrupted my thinking and the way that I approach people in life situations and things like that. So yes, people do put us in a box, but we can also put ourselves in a box.
Yeah. Have you guys ever watched Stranger Things? Like, I might be the only person on the planet who's never seen that.
Make that too.
Oh, okay. What? Okay, I'm with my people now.
Yeah.
I keep saying I want to watch that. But the reason I bring that up, well, first on New Year's Eve, they did the Stranger Things drone thing, which I mean, yay.
I
think it's the
for
final
it.
season or whatever. But you know, the actress, Millie Bobby Brown. Okay, she's married to Bon Jovi's son, Jake, I can't say their last name. Their real last name. Jake, we'll just call him Jake Bon Jovi. But she grew up, and Stranger Things was like, I don't know, it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
So when she was first, she was a child.
Yeah.
And now she's an adult. She's married. They adopted a child. And there's so much criticism with her and how she looks. Like, they're like, you're dressing too mature and you have too much makeup on and all this other stuff. And she's just like, yeah. Because when you first met me, I was, 12 years old. And, they're telling her, you look 40 now, your clothes are too revealing. She's like, I was 10 when I started the show. Of course I've changed. So that whole putting someone in a box or putting yourself in a box and expecting yourself not to evolve is real. And I think it's especially real for women. So I guess I want to start out by saying, when you were 10, who did you think you were going to be?
So my sister sings really well. And she was, not that she doesn't sing well now, but it was a little bit, when she wanted to be a singer, she was coaching a lot, so her voice was incredible. And so in my head, I wanted to be a singer, So I was like, it's funny. I had the audacity. I would email Jive Records. I'm an audacious person. If you don't have the audacity, it ain't it. Yeah. So for me, it's just one of those things where I wanted to do all the extraordinary audacious things when I was a kid, not like the doctor or the cop thing. It was more like I wanted the fame and the glitz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. I know that. I still want it, but I want it a little less because for me, I think about Hollywood where they can't go to a restaurant without getting bombarded. So I want to be able to still go to a restaurant, but I want the life.
But the fortune.
There we go. That's it right
absolutely.
there. Right there.
Yeah, I get that. I wanted to do one of the two things. Be an attorney or be this big time actress.
Ooh.
Yes. And so people kept telling me, even as I matured, I still had this dream of coming to LA and being this big star. And people were like, you're going to take acting lessons? I'm like, I don't need that. I have it, Then moved to LA and it was like, girl, please, bye. No, this is not the.
Did you move to LA?
I moved to LA under different circumstances.
Oh, okay.
But it was still in pursuit of that dream.
Right.
And when I got there, I was like, this dream has died. The desire had gone away. This is not the life for me.
I thought you were going to tell me you were on one of those ABC after school specials or something.
I was an extra
I was gonna look
in
it
some
up.
local filmmakers movie, but that's the extent of my acting career.
Yeah, because last time Tia, one of our co-hosts, she's like, yeah, and I was on $1 Million Listing. We were looking.
We literally
at her
during the episode, we're like, we're sorry, excuse. Yeah, literally, we're looking at the people doing the test. We're like, look that up.
Well, I wanted to be a genetic engineer.
Ooh.
Wow.
And I'll be honest, like, well, I love science. I still love science. I do have a science degree, and I loved everything I was learning. I think it was a few years after Jurassic Park came out, and you know, we did all the firefly experiments and stuff like that. So I really loved the wonder and the experimentation. But I'll be honest, even when I was young, not when I was like 10, but I guess I was a little older, but even when I was young, part of the thing that I thought I wanted to be was always kind of shaped by what everyone thought I should be. You're smart. I was put in these, like, my sister called them nerd camps. She still does, bless her heart. Love you. But I did all like science and math camps in the summer. And so there's such a push be like, oh, you're a talented African-American woman and you need to, you know, do this and then get your master's and PhD and all this stuff. And, you know, there was just always this, like, whatever I wanted with plus a little layer of expectation from others. So, yeah, when I was younger, I said I wanted to be a genetic engineer, and there are aspects of it. But I think as I got older, things started to change a little bit. So, you know, I think as we get older, we also start to develop our own identity and set of values. And that's been my experience.
I mean, listen, I'm like currently in an evolution of, I mean, I have been a hairstylist for over 20 years, and listen, there's only so many times that, like, I think about my life. This is going to be kind of a powerful experiment that I was given, but I went to a hair show, and one of the girls who was presenting, she gave everybody a paper ruler, and she said, all right, I need you guys to cut it to where your age is. And so we cut it to our ages. And then she said, and what age do you think you're going to die? Damn. And so then she cut it off, right? So then we cut it off. When we cut it off, she was like, okay, like, she's like, we get it. You probably think you're going to live to your 100. She's like, but like, let's say like if it came to life expectancy, what's the youngest age you think you would pass? So then we cut it shorter. And she's like, then we saw how short the ruler became. And she's like, this is how much time you have to make your dreams come true. Wow. And when she said that, and ever since then, it's funny because I kept it and I have it like taped on my vanity, and I look at it every day, and I love doing hair. Clearly I love doing hair, but it's exhausting. And to rely on services to have income, like, I don't want to be 65 waiting for somebody to need their hair done. Yeah. So I'm like in an evolution of pivot to have a better life.
Yeah. I like that. When I asked the question, I put it out on my stories the other day, because I knew we'd be having this conversation. I was just curious what other people's experiences were. And I said, have you had a big change recently? And then if so, how did others react to it? And I got this one response, which was so interesting and powerful. She didn't really elaborate on what the big change was, but she said, I'm great. My family is having a huge problem with it, but I'm maintaining this boundary, and that's why I'm happy. So I do think as we talk about, and when we're saying evolution, we're talking about like changes or transitions, or you change over whatever period of time. And I think that's really, really normal. But what I've also experienced personally, and what I've heard from other people, especially in the Brave coaching that I've been doing, is that the hardest part for folks is to overcome that old imagery, kind of like the Millie Bobby Brown thing. People are always going to see her as this 10-year-old child actress from Stranger Things, and she's so much more than that. And so have there been times where you've, like even now, Fiorella, as you're transitioning, or you've lived such a great life, I want you to talk more about that, like how things have changed. And have you ever experienced when other people have been like, why aren't you this your old self, or I miss the old Ericka, or I miss the old Fiorella?
Okay, I'll go first. So in 2020, I was living in Sacramento, and I just remember I was deep into the church, right? I was doing Bible studies, leading Bible studies, being a part of small groups, but I felt so disconnected from the people in the group. And I couldn't understand why at first. And I'm like telling my friends, I'm not connecting with people. And that's who I am. Yeah. You know, I'm a connector, and I feel very engaged, but in that environment, I just felt like out of place. And it was because at the time my life was good, right? I had my own personal struggles or what have you, but I'm at a table with women who are single moms going through an eviction, you know, who doesn't know what's next, or someone with a special needs child, or, you know, all these people dealing with some serious issues. And they're like, so what's the worst thing you're dealing with right now? And I'm like, my belly fat? Like, and I'm like, I felt that disconnect. And I'm like, no, something has to give. And so fast forward 8 months later, we relocated back to Texas. And it was like that bubble that I lived in burst. I went back into the workforce after 16 years.
Ooh, wow.
Yes. And going to work, but still like taking care of the home, taking care of my son, and just figuring out what's next. And just being able to connect with people like, okay, the influx of money isn't coming in anymore. You know, I have to go to work, you know, or feeling temptations or feeling disconnected from my husband, but feeling like all these things. And I'm like, okay, God, I didn't know you were going to answer my prayer in this way. But what I've learned is evolution, it requires adversity in some sort, right?
Yes.
So better comes with bad.
Yes.
And I experienced so much bad that helped make me better and make me connect with people in a way that's like, girl, I hear you, I see you, I feel you. You know, so that was my evolution in the last 4 years, and it keeps happening. You know?
I think that needs to be a poster. Evolution comes with adversity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's literally like, even before I came here this past year, I was in Florida, and I had a team with a business partner who, she's an amazing friend of mine. We just weren't seeing eye to eye as business partners. And I had a meeting with a friend of mine who helps businesses. And I was essentially venting to her my frustrations, which is normal for anybody, right? And at the end, she's like, well, it seems like you guys need to split, and you do your own thing, or you give it to her and whatever. So that was when I prayed to God. I prayed to my dad. My dad passed away, so I prayed to them both. And I was saying, like, what do I do? What am I supposed to do? Like, I'm here now. Like, how do I tell her we can't do this anymore? The next morning, I wake up and I roll over. My husband's like crying and looking at me in bed. I'm like, what's the matter? And he's like, we have to move back to Vegas. And I was like, and I looked up the ceiling. I'm like, this is how you tell me? This is what I'm supposed to do. This is it. And it's like, but even that, you know, having the conversations of, I mean, imagine I had brides already booked out, clients that were like happy that I was back in Florida in the area that I was working in. Like, all the people to be like, hey, just kidding, I'm leaving again. Wow. And it's just like you said, the adversity and the discomfort of having to say, like, I can't do this anymore to people that need or relied on you to do it. Yeah. So, but I would never give up the life that I have right now for the life I had.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And I think that's the thing you have to think about when you're going through the adversity. So I remember reading Jen Sincero's book, You're a Badass. That's one of my favorites. First, her name's Jennifer. We're all amazing people. And I did meet her at a book signing. But she had this really great chapter on ego, not like egotistical ego, but ego meaning like that thing in your mind that protects you. Yes. And also the thing that ego does is wants to keep you safe. Yeah. So it doesn't want you to change. It doesn't want you to evolve. So anything that looks scary, different, whatever, there's going to be that voice in your head. And maybe that's the voice that keeps you stuck. That's like, I'm not going to do this. And she said, imagine your ego as your big Italian mother saying, don't go outside and all this other stuff. But I also think, and then she talks in the book about when you really want something, that's when, and maybe this is the evolution and adversity part, that's when everything goes wrong. Like you wanted to, you know, you're getting back into the workforce and your husband's doing all this great stuff. And then you have to adjust on 18 million levels. You know, your business, you partner to all this other stuff. And I've had very similar, and I'll probably talk about in future episodes. This is too much to cover right now. But I think as it's January, as we're recording this, and it'll be released in January, everybody's making these big goals and resolutions or vision boards, whatever we want to call it. And what I really would like to explain to people is when it starts going bad, that's when you know you're on the right track, because that's when you're going to get tested.
Every time.
Universe, devil, whatever you want to call it, you're going to get tested, because I feel like that's a signal that says I'm breaking past the ego. I really have to know whether I want this badly enough. And you have to have the faith and the belief in yourself that there is another side of that. I'll just keep talking. When I was going through, when I was married to my daughter's father, went through a divorce. And I remember feeling like this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. You know, moving out of my really pretty home into a crappy apartment. And I had these random women come out of nowhere to help me. And one pulled me aside. Catherine, if you ever listen to this is you. And she said, Jennifer, I know how you feel right now. I know, because I've been there. But I'm going to tell you this. I want you to hold on to this, that in 6 months, a year, whatever down the road, you will never be happier. She's like, you are going to be happy. And she was right. So I do think that there's something to the adversity piece. You got to go through it to enjoy it and appreciate it.
Yeah. Piggybacking off of what you said about New Year's resolutions, it's 2026 and everyone has this big word for the year. Discipline, dedication, commitment, all these things. And it's like,
those are the top
discipline, there's going to be disruptions. There's going to be distractions. There's going to be all these things, you know, that's going to say, hey, how disciplined are you going to be? How bad do you want it, right? And then, were you going to say something?
No.
Okay, sorry.
I'm agreeing with everything. I'm like, yes, you're right.
And it happens. So the good comes with the bad. The bad comes with the good always. And my husband always says this. Success and failure are fraternal twins. They are birthed at the same time.
Yes.
So you have to know that there's going to be some setbacks and some failures along the way. And give yourself permission to mess up.
Amen.
Give yourself permission to explore those things and say, I'm not that great at this, but I'm going to try anyway.
Exactly.
You know? And that's that growth mindset, I guess, that comes with trying and giving yourself permission to grow and evolve.
Absolutely. I'm a huge believer when you said the setbacks, like the woman who did It Cosmetics, I think it was, she was talking about her story. And she said one thing that like hit me to the core, and I think about it all the time. And she's like, my setbacks were my setups. And I was like, oh,
for sure.
When she said, because it's true. It's true. It's every time, like you said, when something seems like it's skewed and something's not right, that means you're actually doing good, because that's God, the universe, whatever it is, saying like, how bad do you want it? Let's see how much you'll go through to see that you really want it.
Yeah, for sure. And ego will challenge you in your identity. It's not just how bad you want it, but it challenges your real identity for that person to rise up, right?
Amen.
And so I hid behind the Bible so much, which is not a bad place, right, to hide behind.
Right.
But all of my advice or suggestions and things that I wanted to do was so biblically watered down to the point where, again, I couldn't connect, but two, I wasn't able to rise up in my true identity outside of the Bible says. It's like, yeah, but life said, and life kicked my ass in this way, and this is how I was able to push through and show up, you know?
Right.
And so I do think that evolution comes with saying, who is the real you? And let that person rise up, even if it's uncomfortable for you, your husband, your friends. I've lost friends because now I'm on social media having a drink, or I'm saying badass publicly. You know what I mean? Because I have to blame myself for putting me in a box. And then when I finally stepped out, it made other people say, she's tripping. She's being rebellious. Oh my God, is she still saved? You know, and it's like, I'm glad that you're questioning who I am, because I know who I am and I'm doing what is good for me.
Amen.
And it's real freedom. You know, it's not legalistic. It's not because my pastor said, or because I'm supposed to be this way because of my husband's career. This is who I am, good, bad, and indifferent. So
I love that so much. Yeah. And I think that I've always been a rebellious I was a rebellious child. I'm just a rebellious human being. My mom will even say it till the day she dies. And like, even for instance, like I was working in a salon, and before I left it, like I just remember having the feeling of like, I know in my soul that I want more, and it's not going to come with staying here. And so I took the risk and I opened my own salon suite. And it was funny because I remember when I first opened it, like, girl, it was crickets. Like, but I would have one person come in and they'd be like, how's it going? I'm like, I am so booked. It is, I can't believe how busy I am. I am so busy. I'm booked like 3 months out. You guys, when I closed my studio, I was booked 6 months out.
Yes.
And it was, every year I upgraded my studio, and it was just like, because I allowed myself to take the risk and go through the, and in between that, I was couch surfing. I was going through breakups. My dad passed away. Like a lot of things were happening in the in-between that were immensely difficult. And we're talking like, I had moments that I had to choose either to feed my dog or feed myself.
Wow.
And so, and it was like, all right, well, it is what it is. In my head, I'm like, there's ramen noodles. I'll have some, like the ramen noodle diet will get you through any adversity you got to go through. So just keep that in mind. Just watch the sodium, drink your water.
Right. We have all been there. And I think that the cool thing that both of you mentioned is really about becoming almost like a new person.
Yes.
It's you, but it's like a different version of you.
You're shedding those
and
layers.
What?
You're shedding layers.
Yeah, you are. And one of my, I did a retreat a couple years ago with this amazing coach, Natalie Miller. Shout out to you. And I can't remember when she said it. Maybe it was on her podcast. Maybe it was in a group thing. But she had this really great analogy of getting on an elevator with a bunch of your friends. And she said sometimes as you go to your destination, some of your friends have to get off on different floors. They're not meant to ride that ride with you. Some of them are with you all the way to wherever your floor destination is. But she's like, it doesn't mean you don't enjoy the ride. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them getting off on a different floor. But like, that's what I experienced. I've had so many different changes in my life, whether it was getting divorced from my first husband, getting divorced from my second husband, moving to a new place. Like, people didn't get it. And that was always the thing. They would always be like, why are you doing this? Like, why? And I'm like, no one else needs to know why but me.
Right.
And it was so right for me. Like, moving to Vegas, I didn't have any family or friends. I didn't have a job out here waiting for me. There's no reason for me to come, except I knew I was at a place in my life where I needed to have a fresh start. And I literally went to different cities to feel how it felt. And as soon as and I'd been to Vegas before, but never in the mindset of, could I live here?
Right.
I stepped off the plane and I remember riding the shuttle to the rental car place and looking around, seeing the palm trees, breathing in the air. I'm like, this is it. This is home. And so like that being, like, I really do feel like a different person. I feel like I've been different people throughout my life. Still me.
Yeah.
Like the basic Jennifer is still there.
Yeah.
But I think that's the piece. Like, sometimes people think about transition and that's one thing, but evolution, I think, is a whole nother beast.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like what I'm also hearing from the both of you is that you learn. You're constantly learning. Like, you stepped outside of the bubble to learn something different because what you were in wasn't working. And the same thing for you. You learned a new environment. Like, and what was real, I actually went to CES on Tuesday and Wednesday. They had the female quotient was holding something at the Aria. And what I really found interesting as a service provider in the tech world, obviously I was a little uncomfortable, but it was really awesome to listen that like every woman that was high up in the tech world, their number one thing was you just have to keep learning. Because whether like they were saying, like learning yourself, learning what your values are, what your roles are, the environment that you want to be in. And I think that we also get complacent. And that's why convenience and conviction don't live on the same street. So it's one of those things where it's like, you got to get uncomfortable. If you want, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting different results. Yep. So if you want something different, you got to either learn something new, try something new, live somewhere new, meet people that are new, because if you're done with your bubble, and you got to leave it, let that pop.
Yep.
Well, I'll say this, like, this is my PSA to all folks who I've been coming across who, you know, they look at me, they're like, Jennifer, how did you do this? Like I have some magic secret. I don't. But I think the common thread among a lot of the women that I've talked to is that they got to a place, maybe it was motherhood, maybe it was a certain place in their job or career, a certain place financially, and someone, or they believe somehow that was it. And that's where they get to stay. And then they have these feelings like, oh, I don't want to, this is great. And I'm grateful, but like, there's more, there's something else. And then they go through this wanting to change. And then other people they call it like, oh, I'm going through a midlife crisis. And I hate that term because there's nothing wrong with getting to any point in your life and saying, hey, I kind of want to do something different. I want to change it up. Or I'm becoming someone new. Yeah. And so I want to ban the term midlife crisis or call it a midlife awakening and not to say it is only going to happen once. It could happen like 6 times. So when people have the young boyfriends or they decide to become, I had a friend who did really, really well in the online space for years, like had a business and was working with all these people, helping them start businesses. And she's just like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to. She just wasn't loving it. And that was all that she needed to know in order to say, I'm going to do something else.
Good for her.
And so like, I just want to encourage people who might be stuck in situations, I'll call it, whether it's a job situation or a life situation or whatever, that you don't have to stay there. And you don't have to have a reason other than, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I don't like midlife crisis either, but what I say that is, it's a lot of curiosity and a little bit of trust. Ooh. They don't trust themselves enough to tap into what that imagination or that curiosity that they have about what more is or what next looks like for them. And so that's why I always say, just give yourself permission, trust yourself. And if you fall, hopefully you fall in the hands of grace if you believe in the Lord, or the people around you, your village, but like trust yourself and allow that curiosity to take you places where you've only imagined, you can only dream of, that can actually manifest itself in your real life. And so just try.
I think that it's so beautiful. And like, you know, I speaking to Ericka when she first got here and getting to know her a little bit, like it was like hearing how much of the world you've seen. And I think about, I know people that like haven't left their 5-mile radius their entire life.
I know those folks too.
And it's wild to me because the world is so big. And it's like, you're okay staying stuck here. Like you're literally this minute little thing in this huge universe and world. Right. There's so much to explore. There's so many possibilities and resources to get you there. Yeah. And you want to stay stuck here.
Right. Yep. Because they're stuck here.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I know some of the ways that, for me, a lot of the getting unstuck and exploring had to do with giving myself space and rest to like stop and pause. Yeah. Because it's in the pause where I found a lot. So I'm curious for you all, like what has been the best way that you get to spend some time getting curious or cultivating that, like working that muscle of exploring?
Go ahead. Mine is the more obvious answer, I think. When I step away from social media.
Ooh,
yes. Because you're so bombarded with all these images and like other people living their goals and trying new things. And it's like you get kind of confused. Like, okay, I know what I want, but I kind of want some of that and a little bit of that and a little bit of that, right? And so the input of information kind of dilutes or kind of come on, girl, give it to the girl.
What's the word?
It's like convolute. Period. I'm better than that. I am a communications leader. Yeah, it does those things, right? Yeah. And so when I get away from social media for 3-4 months, I am like recentered, like, girl, this is what you want to do. Not what Sheila's doing or anyone else is what you want to do. So that helps me. And also just really tapping back into the spiritual part of me as well. Just saying, hey, you kind of got off course, not trying to make you the Bible thumper again, but just like, hey, these are your true dreams and goals that you have.
Amen.
So that's how I take my pause.
I love it.
Yeah, I can agree with the whole social media break. I was very social media heavy with anything. When you have a business, you got to be on there. If not, you're not relevant. Exactly. And I think I even said something the other day because I've been like very like whatever with it. I post when I post. I haven't posted something on my actual feed since April. And it's funny because my friends are like, what are you doing? You haven't posted anything. I'm like, I don't want to post anything. Yep. And then I'm on my stories, and the other day I said, like, listen, like, if you feel like you're tired of this, like, and you're burnt out, like, take a break. Yep. Because if you do pump things out, it's not going to be genuine, and your people are going to feel it. Yeah. And I'm not trying to pump things out that are ingenuine. So that's not part of me. That's not who I am. And also, too, for me, I've been when I had a car accident in 2020, and when I came out of, and I was back, so I guess we could say normal, like, I had this thing where I would YouTube motivational videos. And that was like, it was such a good part of my life in the sense of like waking up to positivity and having people speak life into me instead of the social media and the drama and the politics. It was like hearing people say like, just do it, go, like, come on, you can do this, and I got back into that routine again. And like, just the feeling that I have every morning, like I get excited to like shower and have that on the background because I love hearing like somebody speak life into me. Cause that's what you need. You need the people that are speaking the life into you instead of diminishing what you want.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's it's alone time. I feel like in my life in the past, there's always been so much noise. There's like kids, there's this. And it's like, there's such an emphasis of being productive. And it's like productive gets me out of, my like reflective self. And I'm like, do, go, go, go. And so I love to work out, but I like to work out alone. Like people, I always complain about not having friends at the gym. Well, probably because I don't look like I want to be anybody's friend at the gym. I'm like, I got my AirPods in, I've got my thing, and it's just me and me. Yeah. And I like going out for a walk, or I like being in nature because it's like, it's calming and it's alone time. So all there is like me and my thoughts and whatever else pops in. And it's so important. And this is what I learned at that retreat a few years ago. It was like a full on week, which, you know, as busy women, a week is a long time to be away.
Sure.
And
that's a lot of PTO, girl.
Girl, I didn't have that. I was a businesswoman. But still, it's still scary to like leave your life for a week. And we were in the mountains. And, you know, I remember her saying, like, you don't have to do anything. All of these things are optional. And you know what I did for the first few days? I slept. And she said to me, you are a whole different person. Because when I first saw you, you look like, well, I look like hell, basically. And what I needed was just the rest. What is my person's, she's not my person, like she's my best friend, but Rest is Resistance, that author, and she, Rest is Resistance, look the book up, but she has a rest ministry, and it's all predicated on the piece that we are in this overproduced, overproductive thing that basically is killing us, and we have the ability and the responsibility to just be like, no, and to set those boundaries and to not just rest and sleep, but like truly rest. Yeah. And I have found that the less busy I am, the more clear and honestly, the more productive. So people always say like, you know, I said, my biggest thing is I want to own my own time. And that's what I do. And so in the times that I'm busy, it's because I planned it that way. And in the times of rest, I planned it that way. And then there are times like the other day, I'll be honest, like I was so tired and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a nap. It was 2:00 in the afternoon and I did not feel bad about it. And I woke up from the nap and I had this like great idea. And so to me, it's about the stepping back, rest, giving myself permission to do that and not really giving a crap of what other people say.
But for people like me, help me understand how you get from away from the guilt. I have so much guilt. I had COVID last week and I'm like, I should be doing this. I should be like, I make myself feel like I have to be productive.
Yeah.
And I know that's not a good thing, you know? So I find rest often, but I don't rest in my rest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like in your head too much.
Yes,
You want to know
way
the sad answer to that? Here's an illustration. Yesterday I found out the girl I went to high school with died. And I keep thinking, life is too damn short. Sorry, I don't want to cry. And I've had other people in my life who've had serious illnesses or they've passed away. And I keep saying, life is too short. And the things that are most important to me aren't getting all these things done. It's about really being who I'm supposed to be and giving my gifts out there and peace.
Yes.
I guess I've had so much turmoil and transition and worrying about other people and running around. And I look back at those times and I wasn't happy. I was not in my best shape. I was exhausted. I was getting weird illnesses. And I guess I'm just at the point where I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And people will talk about me. Like, I know there are people who think I'm flaky as F, right? Because I'll stop. I'll just be like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'll stop. Or, you know, I'm not going to have a traditional job. Fiorella's heard me say this. I'm never working for anyone ever again. I won't do it. I will be eating ramen noodles if I need to, but
I'm right there with you, girl. I'll bring the ramen noodles tomorrow.
Girl, let's get some chicken and mix it up with the package. I'm not going to do it. And so I think for me, it was just perspective on when push came to shove, when I started seeing people around me pass away, when and I just thought like, you know, life's too short for me to hold on to this stuff.
Yeah.
I won't do it. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Of course, there's sometimes some guilt, but I really had to start making big choices, especially when I moved out here. I moved away from my child and I love her. She's my favorite human in the world, but she's an adult. And I had to start living life for me. I would say that's been my biggest guilty thing, but we both learned how to continue to have this amazing relationship with each other. I'm going to go visit her next weekend. Her birthday's this weekend. She comes out here and we just had to learn how to adjust. And now it's like, okay, it's okay because I'm so much happier. Now, if I'd stayed close to her and been the little helicopter mom like I wanted to be, I'd have been miserable. And I keep thinking like, that's not what I want to teach her. And so I hope, and you know, every now and then she says some things, does some things. I love her. And she says like, she's so proud of me because I want to be that example. I want to be the change you see in the world. I don't want her to be all overworked and worried about what everybody else is thinking of her and the guilt of not having to do the one thing you don't really want to go to. Screw that. Do what you want. The life goes on. Yeah. Nobody's missing me from any of the stuff I said no to. Nobody.
I think the hard thing with life right now, and I don't know if it's always been like this. Like, I don't know if even like pre-social media it was like this, but like, I feel like the words "stay in your lane" should be told to everybody. Because when you stay in your lane, you don't have to listen. You don't have to make anybody feel guilty about their choices. You could focus on your own stuff. Because that's the other thing is focus. You know, when you have those noises and those people and those things in your head, you lose focus because you're worried about everything else instead of the one thing that you want. And it's beautiful to see like what you've created for yourself. Like you have done so much for yourself in your life, in your young life. That
girl, thank you.
Heck yeah, girl. You're so young. And like it's one of those things where like I think of like I always even think of like, you know, Gary Vee is big on like saying like go to an old person's home and talk about what they wish they would have done. You know, and I hear that, and he's done the interviews and I hear it and it like it hits my heart because it's so true. There are young, old, middle-aged people that are 60 below us right now that would do anything for 5 minutes to work on what they want to do.
Oh wow.
And I heard something from Layla Hormozy the other day that was really powerful. And she said, fear is a mile long, but an inch deep.
Ooh, yes.
Say it again.
Yeah.
This is going to be the episode where we have all these quotes.
Yeah.
From
this is a quote episode.
The quotables.
But yeah, and she was saying, she's like, it's an ocean. Like you see the fear and it's an ocean wide. But when you step in it, you're like, I'm not going to drown.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on that vein, what kind of advice would you have? So people are listening. And maybe instead of, we're not being preachy or whatever, but if you could talk to yourself, like this mature, knowledgeable version of you, if you could go back and say and give some advice to the young version of yourself, what would you tell them?
Don't be scared. Just do it. Just do it. Because every time I've taken a risk was when everything blossomed. And when I stayed put was when things fell apart. And so for me, like it was almost, you know, the trusting your gut. And I know it's very like woo-woo, but I feel like, you know, God gave you the gut, you know, he gave you the feelings, he gave you the emotions. So listen to that. That's something in you telling you like you need a shift. Yep. Just follow that. Yep. It never will fail you.
You stole mine.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'll think of something else real quick. Go ahead, Ericka.
Honestly, like the word audacious, we talked about audacity earlier, but also authenticity.
Oh, yeah.
Be authentic to you. It doesn't matter how quirky or weird it seems to someone else. Be you, because who you are is amazing. Can you imagine if we all went to a barbecue and everyone bought potato salad? Like there's no diversity. It's like, oh, some more of this. And I say this because it's on the heels of a conversation I had on my way here. A girlfriend was going to a networking event, right? And the intimidation that a lot of women feel.
Oh, all the time.
And she's like, I just don't know how to go into these rooms. And I'm like, yourself. I said, for example, she used a girlfriend, Danielle, for an example. And she just walks in like this womanly grace that she has about herself. She owns like this presence is beautiful. And I say, even for me, I walk in with energy. I'm inclusive. I'm bringing you in.
Right.
I'm engaging, right? And I say, and you, like, you have to identify what you bring into a room is very different from everyone else. But it has to be authentic to who you are. And so authenticity and audacity, I think those are the two things.
Oh, I like these. Yeah. For me, it's a bit of rebelliousness, and I always, this is in my little Brave framework. The R is rebellious, but I think that sometimes we have to do that because when you're authentic and when you forget about fear, there's still a part, whether it's internal or external, that's going to challenge you and say you shouldn't do this, and so it's kind of that audacity to break the rules, like whatever rule, whether it's self-created or someone else says you can or can't do, it's like you have to rebel. And it's not always going to be pretty or easy. People won't get it. And you have to be secure in yourself enough to be like, but I get it. And that's what's important. So I think there are two things. There's be rebellious and also to know that evolution is natural. We're supposed to change and evolve. Our ideas are supposed to, who we are changes. I'm not going to be the same person I was at 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or last month. I'm going to change and I'm okay with that. And if you expect it and if you're okay with it and you know who you are and you face the fear and you're authentic and you rebel against the rules, I think the evolution can be fun.
Oh yeah.
It can be so much fun.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, girl. Listen, like they say, the only constant in life is change.
It's change. Yet we keep pushing against it. What's wrong with us?
I know. Let's ride that wave, girl.
Well, I want to kind of wrap up things because we've had such a good conversation. I think it's gone by so fast. And
I know,
I just
it
kind of
flew
want to
by.
sit here.
It flew by.
Let's keep talking. But like, Ericka, what do you have like in the pipeline as you evolve and change?
Exactly. So I have a book coming out soon.
Ooh.
Yes, my third book is called Still Becoming.
See,
'Cause
we're still becoming,
we
girls.
are, and it speaks to these things. And before, in the past, I always tried to tell people what to do because I thought I had the answers because it worked for me. But now I'm helping you figure out your answer for yourself, you know, and so what's next. And so the book is for women in their 40s who parenthood, motherhood, divorce, and relationships, never been, you know, married or all the things, and like just trying to figure out yourself, your real identity, beneath all the things that we experience on a day-to-day, and then help you figure out what's next. Like you said, we're constantly evolving and the transitions and things like that. So Still Becoming, coming out in the spring.
All right, because you need to make sure you give us the pre-order link.
For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I am figuring things out. I am excited for possibilities and the world that we're coming into, and hopefully that will help me step back from always relying on doing hair. I want doing hair for me to be something that I can do for fun.
Yes.
You know, I don't want it to be, listen, running around the strip doing hair all the time is great, but once your back starts to hurt, it's like, that's not fun. So I'm excited for possibility.
Yeah. I'm excited for your possibilities too.
That's good.
And I'm kind of in the same boat. It's like, no one wants to trade time for money. And I'm getting to a point in my life where it's like, I want to have impact in the work that I do. And I still want to eat and like buy stuff off the TikTok shop and all that. So the BRAVE program, and I've mentioned that, it's an acronym for bold, rebellious, authentic, values-driven, and expansive. It's just basically a framework for people who want to change and evolve. And I'll say it, I'll put my big, hairy, audacious goal out there. I would love to get to a point where I'm running retreats for women to give them that space that we talked about, that quiet, that reflection time. So whatever their brave choices are, their brave decision points in their life. So I want to do my first one this fall.
Ooh.
And so I hope by the time that this airs, I'll have my little page up on my website, finally, Jennifer. But that's what I'm moving towards, because I feel like I spent this last season getting really clear on what I didn't want, and then the back half of the year getting clear on what I do want. And now it's kind of coming together. So I'm so excited.
I love that for you, girl.
Thank you.
And just in the short amount of time I've known you, I know it's going to happen.
I know.
Amen, girl.
It's going to happen.
You guys have to come. Well, I want to thank, obviously, Fiorella. We've been doing this for a while, but also Ericka for joining our little clan.
It was such a good time, girl. When you come back.
You're adopted. You're part of the crew. And if you want to follow up with anybody, you can find Fiorella on Styled by Fiorella Elizabeth on Instagram, and Ericka Ellis on Instagram. What, Ericka? Yeah, Ericka Ellis. Let me not screw that up. And then, of course, there's me at Finally Jennifer on Instagram and all that good stuff. And that's also where you can find the Bras Off podcast, or you can go to brasoffpod.com. That's where you can find the playlist of all these lovely episodes. I definitely want to thank Vegas Content Studio for accommodating our new switcheroo in studio and our new digs. I want to thank Ericka for just jumping in and being exactly who you are.
Yes.
And I loved your perspective today. I hope our listeners really love it. So speaking of you listeners, if there's some other topics that you've been kind of rolling around in your head and you don't necessarily know, you're like, I don't know if I can talk about this, message me. Go to Finally Jennifer. That's me on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and whatever. Find me on some sort of social media and talk to me about what you want to talk about, or what are some difficult things that you may be dealing with. Because at Bras Off, we really want to be that space where we're tackling the things that a lot of people are too scared to talk about, or they want to talk about, but their friends don't get them. So I just encourage you to continue to do that. So with that, I guess we're saying goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Or at least for now. We'll see you. How about see you later?
That's right. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to Bras Off. If you love the show, make sure you go to brasoffpod.com to subscribe and join our community.